Okay, so I'm out of my comfort zone now. I know I'm still in the park, but I don't have a theme. Lots of things been banging around in my head. Don't know what to say, don't know what to talk about. I'm just going to start with today. Today is the winter solstice, 21st of December. Technically, the winter solstice is an infinite point in time, infinitesimally small, which is like the now. Once it's there, it's gone. But of course it's always here, but anyway, it's an infinitely small point in time, where the tilt of the Earth is pointing away, if you like, if you will, from the sun. The tilt of the Earth sometimes doesn't. Well, take the equinox for example. If you imagine the sun at the centre of a circle. I know we don't have circular orbits, but just imagine the sun at the centre of a circle. The tangent to that circle is the direction that the tilt of the Earth points on the equinox. And the solstice, the tilt of the Earth points towards the centre of the circle or away from the centre of the circle, however you define tilt. So we have, in the winter equinox, in the northern hemisphere, the shortest day. It is the shortest day of the year today. There will be the least sunlight falling onto where I live in the northern hemisphere today. If we discount clouds, there is quite a bit of cloud. That could just be local to me. So this is how we mark time. The year. The day is obviously how long the Earth takes to spin through one rotation. The year is obviously how long the Earth takes to go around the sun. So time is sort of denoted by cycles. We can count these cycles, how many times it's done that since. See, that's where it gets a bit tricky. Since what? You can pick an arbitrary point in time, the birthday of some person, I don't know, becomes cultural at this point. Stops being natural, starts being cultural. Defined in an arbitrary way for the purpose of civilization. Here comes the sun. Do 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 do. Here comes the sun. I said it's alright. Do 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 do. What else do we know about time? Things age. Get older. What's age? What do I mean by age? Start to sort of lose health. Is that what age is? Health. If you could maintain yourself in a perfect state of health, would you not be considered to be aging? I guess so. So with age, inevitably, comes death. I guess even without age, you could still die if you weren't aging. You could, I don't know, get destroyed by an oncoming bus or some such. Death. What is death? I think people have difficulty understanding death because what you try and do, generally speaking, to try and understand something like death, because it hasn't happened to you yet, otherwise you wouldn't be hearing me now, is to sort of imagine what it might be like to die, to transition from an alive state to a dead state. But if your imagination is dependent on your alive state existing, then how can you imagine death? Think about that. If your alive state, if your imagination is dependent on you existing, how can you imagine death? There's nothing that you can imagine that will be like death. Of course, people who don't try and imagine things and just conceptualize things don't have quite the same philosophical issue there. They just say death is when you're dead. Of course, sort of a circular argument, isn't it? Paradox, if you will. So if you can't imagine death, then what do you imagine instead? I guess you imagine the continuation of life in some form. And it's true, life will continue. Maybe not yours, but life will definitely continue after your death. Look at this moss here. It's cool, isn't it? I know one thing, if I ever get the chance to experience the dawning of my own death, because of course I might not get that chance, it might just be pop, off I go. But if I do ever get the chance to experience the dawning of my own death, I shall try and be ultra conscious of it, of myself, of my experience as it happens. To see, because it's only going to happen once, I assume, I'll try and be ultra conscious of it, because I don't want to miss that, you know. I guess it's like saying you're going to go on this fairground ride, but you're only going to go on it once, so you better get the most experience you can out of it. And I guess that's like the whole of your life, really. Every single event in your life only happens once, so you need to get the most out of it, to be aware of it. Here's a cool tree. This is a dead tree. The tree, I think, is probably mostly dead as a tree. Yet there's lots of things growing on it. There's some ivy there. Look a bit closer, can you see the lichen? I'm sure there's absolutely loads. I think this tree is actually heaving with life. Of course, the trend these days is when you're dead, you take your body and you incinerate it, and nothing left but ash, and so you'd probably think there's not much life left of your actual body there. I mean, of course that's not really natural, but I guess it is. It's sort of natural, another type of natural. Being consumed by fire is a type of natural, but it doesn't really give, it just sort of, I would say, wastes the energy that's stored in your body. It just sort of puffs it up into the atmosphere, heating up the planet. I guess you could argue that cremations contribute to global warming. What we should really do is just pop your dead people out, lie them on the ground. Before you know where you are, they'll be eaten to bits. It won't last as long as that. I'm taken out of the environment by living. By dying, I can put back into it. That goes for waste. Poo-poos, wee-wees. That should be just, you know, deposited, scattered in the woods. That'll get eaten in no time. All the creepy crawlies, they'll love that. Of course you don't want to tread in it. Ugh. Don't put it on the path. I guess it's not the end of the world if you tread in a shit. I'm going to go a different way now, a way I haven't been. Another cool tree. It's like a hollow. Bet an animal probably wants to get down there. Oh, you know what? I can see a bag of poo-poo, of dog poo-poo most likely. Someone's thrown down that tree hole. Now, is that clever? No. The whole idea of a poo-poo bag is to collect the poo-poo and take it back and put it in some sort of sanitary disposal unit of some form or another, or just a bin. As soon as you start putting the bag into nature, we know that these bags will last quite a long time. So what we're essentially doing is we're preserving the poo-poo. So I'm not sort of saying to the animals, no, you can't have this poo-poo, even though it's lying right there in front of you, you can't have it. I've surrounded it with a plastic layer, of impenetrable plastic layer, You won't, so plastic in fact, you won't even know the poo-poo's in the bag because you won't be able to smell it. So, dog owners, if you just are gonna cast your bag to the wind, just consider not doing that. Either take it, put it in a bin and use the conventional method, or put that poo-poo somewhere in the bushes, somewhere no one's going to tread on it, somewhere some insects can appreciate it. But don't surround it with plastic though. So, Martin Cluett, in the woods, sort of, in some trees, signing off.